how are the banks seeing this whole whatever you're doing?
You might have more of an idea on that. I haven't been involved in.
I'm just curious if they're proactive. In other words, if your energy efficient extra efforts as far as installation, windows and such, is that seen as a proactive thing for the banks?
It is somewhat of a proactive situation for the banks. They have there's some green credits that I've read about. There's some banks actively participating in a higher mortgage amount if utilities are less. So there's some mortgage instruments out there. There should be more coming, I think, in the future.
Right.
With the mortgage.
Well, the reason why I ask that is because a lot of these banks are now offering what they term green lending, and it's sometimes it's open space that they kind of funnel some money towards, or it even could be just putting the instrument towards a green building or LEED certification, that kind of a thing.
You know what? With the sustainability, I've thought about that as part of the sustainability aspect, because here we have local money, local investors. How come we can't get a pool of money or local banks, community banks, for instance, to lend to local people with energy efficient or green sustainability? It's a great concept, and actually I thought about it several times with packaging a huge project that's sometimes costing in gross volume $6, $12, $20 million, package that pool. Whereas we're losing, with the housing blow up now, we can do this locally, and local investors can make money instead of getting a return. Retired people getting a return of 5 or 3 or 1%. What's money market paying now? 1.5%.
Yeah, much.
So here we can get local money at 5 or 6%, kind of tied into some adjustability. You get local people in. We can have low fuel, low energy driven homes, and keep the money local. And it's probably a great concept.
Well, every bank has a CRA officer, and every bank has rated and ranked on their CRA, which is your community renewal.
Sure.
And that's the ability of the bank to give back to the community, not just lend money and make money for their shareholders and investors. Right. You have to actually have an impact, a positive impact on the community. And that's something that every bank looks for towards the end of the year. How did we do this year? Did we do anything socially, politically redeeming? Did we do something for housing?
Right.
And part of their lending criteria is to meet those CRA requirements. And when anyone ever buys a house or needs to rent, particularly seniors, I don't know.
Sure.
The equation is you make this much money. This can go towards rent, that can go towards a mortgage. This is your money towards utilities, and it's a formula you back into, which gives you an end number. I can afford a $200,000 house, I can afford a $90,000 house. If you can take that equation and prove through energy efficiency that the cost of the utilities will be less on the end user, then, as you said, you can raise the mortgage level, what is used for buying power,
right,
rather than sustaining that house or managing that house.
Right.
It's just a change in the dollars.
Or give a lower interest rate.
Right. Now banks don't want to get it.
Which in effect lowers the payment.
Well, and that's actually could work out well for you. Part of your interviews and sustainability and local is perhaps maybe like the local banks, Saratoga, the big money banks, Boston National, Adirondack Trust, First Niagara, but they're not really that local anymore.
No.
So it's a good time, because this, with the mortgage blow-up scenario that's going on in the industry right now, we can pretty much get proactive with newer homes and maybe get some of these banks involved. I would love to do a roundtable session with a couple of them, or local banks.
Well, the good news is we still have some strong local banks.
So we do.
That are locally grown and still thriving.
And if you can tie it into a project, you can use banks like Capital Bank and Trust.
Right.
It's more on the commercial ends, but it's commercial that you're developing for residential work.
Well, the other thing too, I was thinking when we talk about sustainability, it also means stability. If you can actually show to a bank,
sustainability and stability.
Well, because
that's important.
If you can show to a bank that this homeowner that's taking on this loan is going to have low operating costs, they're going to be secure in making that payment, and that's going to be very attractive to the bank, because they want to know that they're going to have a 30-year commitment. They're going to get interest payments and principal for 30 years. It's not going to be this sudden insecurity that's happened, we've seen recently. People can't make payments, they foreclose.
Yeah.
Banks don't want to be in the real estate business. They aren't good at it. They don't like doing it, and it costs them money. And when you saw energy prices going up, then you saw some people failing on their mortgages.
Because they had to decide if they're going to pay the mortgage or pay the energy.
Exactly.
And they couldn't do either.